Welcome to the final edition of the TSV Sports Show this semester. It's been a crazy ride. I mean, we started off with our host, Daniel. I know we miss him. I tried to get him to make a cameo for this final show, did not respond. But as always, we do have a packed show for you. I'm joined with Alvin Chang, Arman Archouniani, Steven Rissotto, and Marco Milani. And speaking of Marco Milani, it is his final Skating on Thin Ice Stanley Cup Date edition. Marco, the floor is yours, buddy.
And this is a great Stanley Cup date because now everybody's playing. Everybody in the North Division is now playing after they had to make up some games due to some COVID-19 restrictions. So let's get this thing started. Let's start off with the first North Division series, Maple Leafs Canadiens. Toronto currently leads that series 2-1. Game 4 is tonight on NBCSN. Maple Leafs have been doing well behind Austin Matthews, and the Canadiens have been doing well behind their guys, Tyler Toffoli, and their goaltending. In the next series, Hurricanes and the Nashville Predators. Game 5 will also be tonight, but this will be on CNBC. Don't get yourself fooled that it is going to be on NBCSN or the big NBC. It is on CNBC. So check your local listings for that. The series is tied 2-2. The Hurricanes, also known as the bunch of jerks, if you might have heard, are tied with the Nashville Predators, who have actually had some good performances in the playoffs and previous seasons. Then we go to Jasper's Islanders, who are currently leading the series against the Pittsburgh Penguins 3-2.
We're beating the Penguins, and then we're beating the Bruins, and then everything is possible.
I'd love to see it if they beat the Bruins. I'd love to see them beat the troll that is Brad Marchand. Anyway, they have Game 6 on Wednesday on NBCSN. And for those of you in New York and in Pittsburgh, that'll be on AT&T Sports Network and MSG+. Continuing on, the Panthers against the Lightning. Tampa Bay leads that series 3-2. That will also be Wednesday at 5 o'clock on CNBC. Moving on to the West, we have the Golden Knights against the Wild. Game 6 will again be Wednesday on NBCSN at 6 o'clock. But last night, there was a couple finishes to some series. The Avs versus the Blues, that actually finished May 23rd. The Avs won 5-2, sweeping the Blues, moving on to the playoffs. That is the President's Cup winner. One of my Stanley Cup pick. Oh boy, I hope I don't jinx that. Anyway, but the Avalanche beat the Blues 5-2. They swept the Blues, and they will be moving on to face the winner of the next West Series matchup. Then the Capitals and the Bruins series. I originally picked the Capitals. The Bruins won, unfortunately, in a 3-1 win. That was also May 23rd. Yep, the Bruins won, and the Capitals' hopes to get another cup are over. However, some news did come out this morning that despite that loss, Alex Ovechkin, still wants an extension with the Washington Capitals to go for his next season. So the Great Eight hopefully comes back to DC and continues to light it up. And then the other North Division series, the Oilers against the Jets. Winnipeg won it last night, sweeping the Oilers in a 4-3 triple overtime thriller. So congratulations to the Jets there. And that is your Stanley Cup date. Hopefully we can watch some great hockey.
Absolutely, Marco. And I actually have a question for you as we finish up our last Skating on Thin Ice. I need your take on fighting in the game and how you want to see it going forward.
I'm pretty impartial to fighting. I mean, I've always seen it as a part of the game. I know that the Sharks are no stranger to fighting. Obviously, one of our guys, Curtis Gabriel, have gotten into a couple scuffles with Ryan Reeves during the Vegas series. So I think it's a part of the game, and really a lot of the fights, as you've seen, Jasper, are started by just some bad hits, and they're just going after their players. So it's a good way of defending, and Yes, it gets them an extra 5 minutes of penalty on the score sheet, which you never want to see. You never want to see that high penalty minute high penalty minute stat, because that will be some criticism to the writers and to fans. But I think it's just a true part of the game, in my opinion.
It's fun to watch.
It is. It really is. If back in the day, actually there was a fight back in 2000 and back in the early 2000s where RJ Umberger got absolutely got laid out, and then there was a huge scuffle. If you have not seen that hit back from the early 2000s, I suggest you look it up. But it is a big hit, and it's a big scuffle that happens after that.
Absolutely. Well, I actually have a great segue for this. So much like the floor changes we see this time of year, we are switching from ice to hardwood, going over to the NBA. See, you guys see that? That was incredible. Let's clap it up real quick. Come on.
That's a segue
Beautiful.
of somebody. That's a segue of someone going to Wisconsin. Let's go.
The brain of a Michigan man with the education of a Wisconsin Badger. All right, moving over to the NBA. Playoffs are in full swing, and we're going to start with this Blazers-Nuggets series as the Nuggets bounced back yesterday, taking game two from the Blazers. Alvin, great win for the Nuggets last night, but do they have what it takes to take 4 against this Blazers team?
I think, you have to defend Jokic, and also Michael Porter Jr. stepped up yesterday in the first half. I know Blazers is good. They didn't make the 8 threes yesterday, but I think Covington played good yesterday. But CJ McCollum and other guys, especially Nurkic in the paint. I know it's really difficult to guard Jokic, but try your best to guard Jokic. Just try to stop him to score maybe under 25 per game. Then I think the Blazers will come back.
Absolutely. And this Blazers team is just too talented to be dropping games like this where Dame still has to carry them. I mean, this isn't 2015. You have a supporting cast. You have McCollum. You have Anthony. You have Norman Powell now. You have guys who can score, so do it. All right, Moving on. Celtics versus Nets. Jayson Tatum has arrived, but he has no supporting cast. Arman, what'd you see out of the big three for the Nets in this game, despite Jayson Tatum's 50-point performance?
Yeah, I think in the first half they had a couple hiccups. Obviously, it's been rusty. They haven't only played 8 games with each other, but as the series goes on, I think they're going to just get stronger and stronger and put this one away in 4, in my opinion.
Really? You think they'll sweep?
Yeah, I think they'll sweep. I think the Celtics it has to take a Tatum 50-point game to at least contend with them, and it's going to be too much for the Celtics to handle, I think.
Yeah, do you think they maybe make this a series if they had Jaylen Brown?
100%. Bro, Jaylen Brown's perimeter defense, you need that, and you need a guy that can shoot threes, an athletic guard to compete with Kyrie, Durant, and Harden.
Alvin?
I would say 4-0 in this series, because if you see the second half, especially the third quarter in the game 1, Kevin Durant has a lot of mismatch. He made a jump shot, threes, everything. Also Kyrie, you want to guard his 3, but he also can penetrate inside. So I would say that's too difficult for Celtics, especially Celtics only have Jayson Tatum on offensively. So this series 4-0, no doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is one of the sweeps I have on my list too. All right, another game that could, honestly, the way they play in the playoffs, I could see the Mavs sweeping the Clippers. Dallas is just the better team. I don't know what else to say. This Clippers team, they look disoriented. I think they really miss Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell in this series. And Arman, is it time to blow this thing up if the Clippers can't get it done and get a first-round exit?
100%. I think this team needs to be blown up if they don't make at least the Western Conference Finals. I think getting Rondo was big for them to get Paul George and Kawhi some more shots or in better positions to get shots. But yeah, losing about 20 to 30 points from Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell combined is huge for that offense. And yeah, the Mavs have just better depth, in my opinion. They just have more guys that can score the basketball. And this could be a really tough series for the Clippers.
Yeah, and Alvin, how do you
Alvin-
see the Mavs playing overall in the playoffs if they can get past this Clippers?
I think they have a better team chemistry. I also have a question for Arman. What do you think Tyler Lue should change in the game 2?
They need to send more shades towards Tim Hardaway Jr. I think whenever he gets the ball, you know what he's going to do. They should stop helping off the top. They should probably get him to go more inside and make him cut and try to send more double teams towards Luke off the pick and roll.
Exactly.
Absolutely. All right. Moving on to the Heat and the Bucks. The Bucks absolutely annihilated the Heat last night, and I think this series is over. I don't see the Heat crawling out of this. I mean, Tyler Hero is just non-existent. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Jimmy Butler can't carry that team. Bam Adebayo is struggling. And, I
Yes.
mean, I don't know. Last night watching that game, I think the Heat are just frustrated. I mean, you saw the amount of flagrant fouls they had. I don't know, Alvin. I mean, do you think the Heat, if they had Oladipo, would put up a better fight in this series?
I think, like, first of all, they don't have Tyler Hero, and also Duncan Robinson is kind of, it's not playing like a same as game 1 yesterday. Also, Jimmy Butler, veteran, like you said, like he can, like, you know, lead a team to win the series. Also, Bam Adebayo, I think that's the most important. He's struggling. He missed the jump shot, and also he didn't, dominate inside the paint. Also, on defensively, Bucks has a lot of great shooter outside. Steven Chenzo, Chris Middleton, also Giannis, playing what he's supposed, like, do what he's supposed to do. So in this series, I think it's over. I mean, if you watched the game yesterday, I think it's over.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think the biggest difference in this series has been Drew Holiday. What has he meant to this Bucks team, Arman?
Yeah, he's meant everything. He's worth every penny they gave him, I think. And when you see this Milwaukee team now, they're not just built for the regular season anymore. They looked locked in even when they were up 30 last night, and they wanted to show Miami when they beat them in 5 in the bubble that they were coming back for vengeance. And I think getting Holiday and getting PJ Tucker were 2 vets that know how to play the game and have that playoff mentality. I think, yeah, this Heat team without Oladipo, Hero shooting an abysmal percentage, and yeah, this team is just flat out. I think they were just a bubbled squad, and yeah, Milwaukee looks like they're locked in the season.
Yeah, Milwaukee's out for blood. All right, moving on to the Grizz and the Jazz. So the big controversy with this one was Donovan Mitchell was frustrated the Jazz rested him game 1, and I mean they lost by 3, so it might have ultimately cost them the game. I think they bounced back tonight in a big way. Arman, what do you think Donovan Mitchell means to this team? And do you think there's anything to the story of him being frustrated with the Jazz as a whole? Or do you think resting him was important just to make sure they have him for the rest of the playoffs?
Yeah, I think if you bring someone back early from injury, there's always that long-term effect. I think sitting out game 1, the Jazz were still playing great basketball even without him. They only lost by 3, which you can say could have gone either way. But I think Donovan Mitchell comes back, they win 4 in a row, and he's brought up this franchise from a couple years ago when they were back in the rebuild stage, and he beat the OKC Thunder single-handedly almost, and yeah, getting them back is just going to add another dimension to the squad.
Absolutely. Moving on to the Hawks and the Knicks, Trae Young. Oh, Alvin, you got a point? Let's hear it.
I gotta say, Donovan Mitchell, like, he's a leadership. In the game 1, if Gobert didn't foul out earlier, probably the Jazz still have opportunity. Also, Ja Morant, you have to stop it. Especially in the fourth quarter, like a lot of easy layup. Like, you can't let Ja Morant do that, like, so easy, so many easy baskets. So in the game 2, I expect if Mitchell come back, he can guard Ja Morant. Also, you have to stop Brooks, Darian Brooks. Is that what to pronounce?
Dylan Brooks, yeah.
Dylan Brooks. So you have to stop it. So that's what the Jazz can do, and I think they'll fight back.
Absolutely. All right, moving on to probably my favorite series of the playoffs thus far. It's the Hawks and the Knicks. MSG was raging. They were chanting at Trae Young, and he showed up to silence them with that floater. What adjustments do the Knicks have to make in game 2? And more specifically, what adjustments do Julius Randle have to make in game 2, Alvin?
I think the Knicks still playing good, just a little bit lucky. The floater by Trae Young. I'm really surprised that I don't expect the Hawks and the Knicks are really competitive. I thought it's like one side dominant. So in game 2, I wish the Knicks will fight back. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Arman, who do you have taking this series at the end of the day?
I think it's going to be a one possession game down to the wire in game 6. I want the Knicks to win. I believe they can win. I think they just need a couple more adjustments in their defense. I think if you need to send multiple guys at great players just to give them a different zone of what's going on. I think if you put them in a box one with Trae Young, the Atlanta Hawks don't have great shooters other than Trae Young and Bogdanovich and Herter, but yeah, you need to get them more shots and get the ball out of Trae Young's hands at the end of the game. For Julius Randle, I think he just needs to settle in more, get to his spots. He was a little reckless at the end of the game last game, but I think they can bounce back for sure.
Yeah, and I think he was also a little nervous. I mean, MSG had 15,000 people. It was rocking. It was fun. It was the playoff atmosphere we missed last season and for, much of this year too. So I'm excited to see more MSG moments, and hopefully that stadium can stay rocking late into the playoffs.
But also you have to guard Gallinari. Like his 3-pointer is clutch. You need to guard him, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Lakers, Suns, and all I got to say is LeBron James put on one of the best injury performances I have ever seen. And sadly, his team couldn't back it up on the court. But, oh my God, this was incredible. I mean, not only did LeBron go down on what looked like nothing at all, he stayed down while a fight broke out, then got up, walked over to where the fight had been happening, and collapsed again just to get the camera back on him. It's incredible the lengths this man will go just to get some attention for an injury and create a narrative. But yeah, are the Lakers washed, Arman? Is this series over?
No, I think this is still a good series. This is probably Phoenix's biggest game in the last 15 years, I believe. And if they win tonight, that's a statement. I think if you go 2-0 into LA, that's huge. But if the Lakers get the split, this could be a really tough series for Phoenix. And whoever wins the series probably has the sky's the limit. I mean, they either play Portland or Denver, and I just don't think either of those two teams can beat the Lakers or the Suns.
Alvin, what are your thoughts on this series?
I think, we all know CP3 is injured in the first half, but he's still playing the second half. I think it's kind of the way to keep the spirit. CP3 knows he couldn't play. But, I think Devin Booker dropped 34 in game 1. If without CP3 in the second half, probably the Suns couldn't win because you don't know, if LeBron and AD will fight back. And also, I think DeAndre Ayton, right?
DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah. DeAndre Ayton. I think he's clutch in the paint. He just totally dominated the Lakers paint. I think AD didn't play well in the game 1. I think Montrezl Harrell did a great job, but not good enough. So in the game 2, I would expect the Lakers will play more offensively inside the paint, especially Anthony Davis and LeBron. Yeah,
absolutely.
I just want to jump in here and say that LeBron James had a great theatrical performance. That's all.
Thanks.
Sorry, I had to do it for the final episode. Our
favorite basketball correspondent, Steve, is back with his take. Yes. Incredible. All right, moving on to the last series of the opening round. We have the Wizards and Arman's Wizards and the Sixers. So the Sixers played like the number 1 seed, no doubt about it. Embiid was dominant. Ben Simmons put up the most Ben Simmons stat line of all time with 6 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists. Arman, how do your Wizards beat this team, and is there even any hope?
Yeah, I don't think there's any more hope unless they get it back on the defensive end. I mean, the defense for the Wizards has just been completely terrible the whole year. And I think it starts with Westbrook and Beal. If you get those guys locking in on defense, you can get the rest of the guys going. And this series is probably going to be the most high scoring series of the playoffs in the first round. And yeah, we saw it already. I think it was like 125, 118, something like that. And yeah, we got to see what these guys can do in game 2. And if they don't win game 2, the series is over, I think.
Absolutely. Finishing up, Alvin, is there any way the Wizards can stop Embiid?
I would say the 7th are just too tall.
Yeah.
Like every position, just too tall. Like if you see Westbrook drive inside and try to, grab a foul, but it doesn't work. Like Embiid is just too tall. Ben Simmons just too tall. Like, and also they have a lot of great shooters outside, like Harris and also Seth Curry. Those are great shooters. So I think this series, I would say 4-1 in the end.
4-1? All right, yeah, I'll give the Wizards 1. Westbrook's going to have some crazy triple double for him.
And Bradley Beal as well.
I would love to see Russ go for like 40 points, 20 rebounds, and 25 assists. I think he's probably going to do it at some point in this series.
Obvious Harris, and also Danny Green. Those are great shooters.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to Major League Baseball, and we're going to welcome in Steve now for the second time after his basketball correspondence, which was always electric, but no one can hit Steve. We had 2 no-hitters last week, 6 on the year now. Are we going to see hitters start to make adjustments, or is the game doomed to be a strikeout fest for the next decade?
No, this is what it's going to be for the next decade. I really like, I want to say that I really like strong pitching performances. Okay. There's nothing like watching a pitcher's duel where every pitch is just like a game within itself. Every pitch is a chess move, but no hitters are losing their significance. And I know people, it's still a cool accomplishment. Don't get me wrong. It's still awesome to watch. All these guys get their moments, but when there's so much of something happening, I mean, it's just the fact that it becomes less special. So it is sad. And there's been 6 no-hitters this year. We saw Joe Musgrove become the first Padre to throw one, and then Carlos Rodon, John Means, Spencer Turnbull, Wade Miley, and then the latest one was Corey Kluber. And these are not the Max Scherzers and the Jacob deGroms and the Clayton Kershaws and the Walker Buehlers. These are kind of the lower level. Well, not lower level. They still have great stuff, but they're not the household names.
Number 3 in the rotation kind of.
Yeah, exactly. They're not the household names that we would expect to be throwing no hitters.
I got to add real quick. I think the ceiling is so high for John Means, but that's.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. But I'm concerned about the direction of the offense in baseball. I think they're pretty much on track to shatter all the lowest batting average, collective batting averages, collective OPSs. And if we're being completely honest here, Major League Baseball does not market or does not profit off pitching. As much as pitching's great, it's a big part of the game. Pitchers are marketed okay, but offense is where it's at. People want to see home runs. People want to see the ball in play. People want to see offense. Okay. And as much as I want to see pitching, but I also want to see offense. And I'm concerned when teams are hitting a collective 199 or 220 at the plate. It's concerning. And I think it goes down to a few reasons. One, launch angles taken over the game, and putting the ball in the air has become more of a priority than hitting the ball hard. I feel like that's kind of the new era in hitting. And it results in strikeouts because guys feel that they have to sacrifice contact to hit more home runs, when in reality, you don't. If you look at the steroid era, those guys were hitting home runs at a crazy pace, but they weren't striking out. Okay, Barry Bonds is one of the best contact hitters in the game that the game has ever seen. Babe Ruth, I know we're going back a little bit. Babe Ruth was like a 350 hitter every single season.
Mind you, in the dead ball era as well.
In the dead ball era, Hank Aaron never struck out more than. So all these guys that are atop the all-time home run list did not strike out. Okay, so that's the difference, I think. I think the best players in baseball are the ones that are going to hit 300 and hit 30, 40, right? I mean, you could have both. You don't have to sacrifice one. And I also think the shifts are killing the game. The shifts, I was a fan of the shifts because I figured, hey, every sport, they could set up their defense the way they want to set it up. Why can't baseball do the same? I thought that for the longest time. I always thought this guy could go the other way. He could learn to hit the ball the other way. But my mind has shifted. It shifted because I've seen the lack of the ball in play, and guys are trying to hit the ball over the shift. They're trying to hit the ball over the shift because they're sick. They're sick of trying to beat it. They're sick of trying to hit the ball through the shift. They get nice wood on it, and all they get is a little ground ball in right field that's fielded by the second baseman who's 30 feet out. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I do think two guys need to be standing on each side of the second base bag, and I do think the shift needs to be banned because you know what? Guys are going to start getting more hits. Batting average is collectively going to go up. And that's honestly what the game needs. I don't care about, more, stupid little increases of the bags. Like that doesn't matter. That's not going to do anything. We don't need extra inning rules completely. Major League Baseball needs to prioritize banning the shift because it will increase offense. It will increase viewership. It will increase everything. So I think that's big. And I think it's a big contributor why no hitters are happening.
Absolutely. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wish guys could beat the shift, but it's not happening. Mm-hmm. It's not fun to watch. And yeah, I mean, it's getting ridiculous. All right. Now let's get into what's going on in the MLB currently.
I have a question first.
Mm-hmm.
So, Steve, on the subject of no-hitters, we are seeing a lot of them this season, obviously. Do you think a Giants pitcher will get a no-hitter? And if so, who?
No.
It's hard to tell. Oh, wow. Okay. Mr. Coors Field. No, it's hard to tell. And it's impossible to predict these things. I mean, Wade Miley's a perfect example. Nobody in Vegas put money on him throwing a no-hitter. Hell, nobody in Vegas even put Joe Musgrove, put money on him throwing a no-hitter. So it's impossible to predict, but I think best stuff on this team, I mean, you'd have to go with the best pitcher, right? That's where your money's the most safe. So it'd probably be Kevin Gausman. That'd be my pick.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the lowest ERA on the Giants. But anyways, back to my point. The Rockies are no longer in last place. It's awesome. It feels good to be back. Thankfully, the Arizona Diamondbacks are a little worse than us. But another team that's scuffling is Steve's Giants. So
yeah,
that's tough. Dropping 3 straight to the Dodgers, not fun. I couldn't imagine doing it. We've only dropped 2 to the Dodgers, so we're in the club. But yeah, I mean, the Rockies, we're not great, but we have some fun pieces to watch. Ryan McMahon is awesome. That's pretty much it. All right, now let's Steve talk some Giants. But I just had to give a quick shout out to my guy Ryan.
Ryan's on my a few fantasy teams I have. So shout out to Ryan McMahon for carrying me and being very versatile. I could put him anywhere on the infield. But the Giants, yeah, the Dodgers came into Oracle Park red hot, and so did the Giants. They just came off that big 19 to whatever win against the Reds, where they put up 19 runs. And the Giants, we've talked about it for so many weeks here. They've been the best team in the National League. They've been on a hot streak. Their pitching's been great, and the Dodgers have been off to a slow start. Are we concerned about them? This was the series. Okay, there was enough drama in this series. It didn't look like it based on the scores and kind of the effort that the Giants put out there, but this was the Dodgers saying, we are still the top dog in the National League West. The pennant goes through Los Angeles. Okay, even if the Dodgers are at their absolute worst, they're banged up. Corey Seager's hurt. Dustin May's out for the year. Cody Bellinger's on a rehab assignment somewhere in Albuquerque. Mookie Betts didn't even play 2 games in this series. Sheldon Noose is coming out of nowhere. All these random guys. DJ Peters is getting starts for them.
Gavin Lux
is starting to heat up a little bit, had a big grand slam. The Dodgers are so talented that they basically have like 3 different teams that they could start, right? 3 different guys on the depth chart that are big league worthy across the other 29 teams. And this was their way of saying, you guys don't have the best pitching, we do. You guys don't have the best offense, we do. You guys aren't the best team, we are. And I don't think anybody for a second doubted the Dodgers at all. Like, who cares if they lost 16 of 17? They're going to come back and win 10 of 11 like they did. And I think what we saw from Trevor Bauer, I want to highlight Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer on Friday night, who was acquired, big money, high AAV guy. On my personal podcast, I said that he's the most intriguing guy in free agency last year, and he might be the most intriguing guy in baseball. And he is such a gift to this Giant Dodger rivalry. One start in, he's already a character. One start in, he's already a top, one of the most hated Giant, one of the most hated players that Giants fans love to, smack around, right? Yasiel Puig was on that list. Trevor Bauer, one start in, joins him. Like based on the antics we saw. Yeah, 6 1/3 innings, 100 and something pitches. Yeah, the ear thing. Yeah, of course. Walker Buehler goes out the next day. I love Walker Buehler. I love everything he does. Fastball guy, shoved on national television. Okay. Julio Urias, shoved, right? Even got himself a knock to drive in 3 runs. Dodgers are still the best team in the division. They're still the best team in the National League, and they still might be the best team in baseball. This was a wake-up call for the Giants. They're going to need to start playing good against some great teams coming up because their schedule is going to be tough.
Absolutely. And I mean, Trevor Bauer, that was awesome what he did.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I
love him, hate him, he backs it up. He's
Absolutely.
Good. He backs it up.
I mean, he's the guy you hate, but he's so great for the game of baseball because you love the villain, and especially on the Dodgers, especially in that rivalry, he is so fun to watch. All right, moving on to the NL Central. The Chicago Cubs have fought their way back, riding Chris Bryant's extremely hot bat. I mean, this guy's scorching. 10 home runs, 312, and a 604 slugging. And their bullpen is sneakily one of the best in baseball, Steve. Do you think the Cubs can come back and overtake the Cardinals?
So this is like the millionth week in a row we've talked about Bryant, and it's for good reason. He's on a roll. And we talked about this even before the season. The Centrals was supposed to be the lackluster division. Like it was supposed to be horrible. But I think what we're seeing now is like those teams just beating up on one another, kind of like the East is, right? So yeah, the Pirates are bad. The Reds are, going to give you some problems if you walk in the Great American Ballpark at the wrong time. But this is going to look like none of these teams are great. None of these teams are, have the talent level that the Dodgers have, or that the White Sox have, or that the Braves have. But this division could give us enough drama to where we could be entertained all summer long. If the Brewers, the Cubs, and the Cardinals keep beating up on each other, we're in for a fun watch. And I think just to highlight the Cubs, I've said it so many times, this is important for them because this is life or death in terms of selling or not selling at the deadline. And if they're a game back of St. Louis come, right after the All-Star break, they're going to go for it because this is a division that could be very easy to beat and win. And the Cardinals have talent too, and they've shown up early here, but the Cubs, this is their window, and this is what, they have to be good if they don't want to tear this team down here. So, we saw David Ross get ejected the other day. This team, I think, is finally starting to put the pieces together, but I'm still concerned about their pitching. I'm concerned that Kyle Hendricks is a bit of a different guy. I'm concerned about Jake Arrieta leading the staff. I'm concerned a little bit about their bullpen, even though it's been pretty good. And Craig Kimbrell's kind of had a revival. But yeah, no, Cubs, Cardinals, Brewers has a chance to be the most dynamic duo in terms of drama this year.
Trio.
Thank you. Yes.
Big English guy over here. All right. Moving on to the AL, the Chicago White Sox. Just moving down to the South side. Chicago White Sox are rolling. Mercedes is the best hitter in baseball. And this rotation is ridiculous. Like the fact that Lance Lynn is 5-1 with a 1.51 ERA and no one's talking about it, it's mind-boggling. Same with Carlos Rondon, pretty much identical, 5-1, 1.27 ERA. How far do you think the White Sox are a contender this year?
Absolutely. They are a pick to go far into the playoffs this year, in my opinion. And the Twins have not been hard on them like we thought they would be. And the Twins have not been hard on anybody like we thought they would be. They have like literally the second or third worst record in baseball. I don't know if the Twins are going away. they're just not hitting. They have no life in them. They don't look motivated. And I know that's a personal attack, but they're just not hitting. They lost Byron Buxton. Nelson Cruz is the only guy hitting. Nelson Cruz, Max Kepler. That's
Josh Donaldson
it.
on occasion.
Donaldson on occasion, but they're not the Twins we're used to seeing. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. But the White Sox are full of talent. They spit out talent. Tony La Russa is, say what you want about him. He's come out of retirement and he's led this team to a 27-19, record. I don't know how much of that is him, but this team's mega talented. You talked about Yermin Mercedes is hitting the cover off the baseball. I mean, and Jose Abreu's not even hot. He's he's the regaining MVP, of course. Nick Madrigal's been a nice player for them. Tim Anderson came off the DL and started raking. Andrew Vaughn's up. Yoel Moncada. I mean, this team is full of great, great talent. And I think the most important thing about them is that they represent today's baseball. They represent what today's baseball is going to be for the next decade. And you talked about the home runs and the strikeouts. This team doesn't do that. This team ranks, I think, a good part of the top percentile in baseball in terms of batting average. They put the ball in play. They're not afraid to steal bases. They play good defense. Tony La Russa has kind of brought in an old school flair, putting the ball in play to this team full of great talent. And if they're able to overcome losing Luis Robert and, Eloy Jimenez, their center fielder and their left fielder, and still be one of the best teams in baseball, that's crazy. Not to mention their pitching, Dallas Keuchel. When Dallas Keuchel is like your 4 or 5, I mean, you got to be kidding me. Dallas Keuchel is very good big league pitcher, and he's your 4 or 5. Giolito's kind of struggling a little bit. He's got to get back, but Lance Lynn's been great. Dylan Cease, don't sleep on him. Rodon's been probably a Cy Young contender. Their bullpen's disgusting with arms you never even heard of. I'm super high on the White Sox. I like this team a lot. My only fear is that they don't, Tony La Russa doesn't lose the clubhouse. That is my only fear. And they turn against him at some point in this summer. That would be bad. That would be bad for leadership. That would be bad for their on the field play. So he's gotta stop saying stupid stuff to the press and kind of, understand that it's not 1980s baseball anymore. So yeah, they're definitely a fun team to watch.
Yeah, and I don't think La Russa will lose the clubhouse. I mean, Tim Anderson came out the other day and he said Tony La Russa is kind of like our just angry grandpa, and he's just letting the kids play. So I think he's bringing a good balance to that team, and he's making all the right managerial decisions. And yeah, I love the White Sox. All right,
and maybe he might be good for some of these guys too.
Yeah,
like I mean, maybe he ends up being a guy that Yermin Mercedes looks at and says, "Hey, this guy helped me a lot at the beginning of my career." You never know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, baseball's about humility, and you got to have guys who will call you out, and you got to be able to respond and bounce back, and that's what it means to be a professional athlete, and especially in a sport where it came out the other day that only 20,000 people have played in Major League Baseball all time.
It's ridiculous.
Isn't that insane? That is so little, and there's so much turnover that when someone takes acceptance of something you're doing, you're probably doing something right, even though you're doing it wrong. But one more team for us to break down today, the Tampa Bay Rays. So the Tampa Bay Rays are interesting because they're another team like the White Sox where they're not hitting the ball out of the park, but they're making contact. They're winning. They're winning with situational play, and you love to see it. But I think the most interesting aspect of this team is besides Glasnow and maybe Rich Hill, they kind of have a rotation by committee, which is kind of fun to watch. Steve, what do you think about this team? And they've also now jumped your Red Sox, Marco, for first place in the AL East.
We're only a half game back. I think us losing a couple close games really cost us, but I think we could definitely get that back. But I'd love to see what the Rays could do.
Steve?
Yeah, just to second that. No, Glasnow's been great. And I thought, I mean, I was wrong for this. I took them as taking a step back.
Yeah, you were a Rich Hill hater. I want that on the record.
I wasn't a Rich Hill hater, but I mean, 41 years old, you're going to rely on him for innings. I mean, you lost 2 big guys. I mean, Charlie Morton and Blake Snell are 2 humongous pieces to replace for that franchise. A team that just doesn't spend and develops well. You're going to need to be perfect with some of these guys, and they have been. Ryan Yarbrough's been a reliable weapon. You could start him. He's a bulk innings guy out of the bullpen when you use an opener. I mean, it's weird what they do with pitching, but it seems to be working. And they're hitting. They're hitting a little bit. I think it's amazing what Joey Wendell's done with the bat. Sleeper in the American League, Joey Wendell. Mike Zunino is finally kind of breaking out a little bit. Austin Meadows is bouncing back.
Can't forget a Rosarena.
Cannot forget Randy Rosarena. He's backing up, possibly. He's possibly in the middle of a Rookie of the Year campaign. I can't remember if he was my pick or not, but no, Rosarena is great too. They have talent, and they seem to spit out talent that we've never even heard of, claim guys off waivers, make them completely different players. It's amazing what they're doing, and they're getting rewarded because they're leading the American League East and leading the American League.
Absolutely.
Doesn't Rosarena count as Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, he wasn't a rookie last year.
He did not play enough games. It seemed like he did, though, because the expanded postseason, the way he went off, but he did not. He's still a registered rookie.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
The Rays trade Willie Adames, right?
Yeah, okay. Yes. That's what I was actually going to ask. Do you follow up? Do you think we see Wander Franco this year?
Absolutely. But I think they're going to give Taylor Walls a chance here. They called him up. I know everybody was kind of disappointed by that, which is hilarious to me. No, but Taylor Walls has earned his spot to be up here. I think they want to see what he can do. Wander Franco is coming. I mean, he's on his way up. He's doing something different in the minor leagues every year. Whenever I think of him, I think of his memorabilia, which just sells for like thousands of dollars, and we haven't even seen him in a big league game. But no, Wander's coming. I think this is just going to be a short period with Taylor Walls.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that wraps up our MLB report. Thank you to Steve, as always. A little more about the MLB than basketball, but only a slight. All right. Moving over to the NFL, Julio Jones wants out of ATL. We knew it for a long time. Shannon Sharp broke pretty much every journalistic rule the other day, calling him live on Undisputed, where Julio said, I'm out of there. He doesn't want to go to the Cowboys. I believe I saw some reports that he likes the Pats or the Titans. And that brings us into Marco's mock of the week. Marco, who do you have Julio going to and for who?
Well, there are also rumors to the 49ers, but I'm not going to do that because that's kind of a tired thing. And I honestly think that they're better off without Julio Jones, without that 30-plus-year-old receiver. Yes, he's a Pro Bowler. Yes, he's still a very good receiver. But trading a first overall pick when you already mortgaged 2 firsts for their quarterback of the future, not very smart. I think you can deal with. I think you can get D.D. Westbrook in free agency, or Golden Tate's still available, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah.
You can get one of those guys, and he can cement the receiving core perfectly fine. And also, you're looking for a guy in the slot anyway. You can have Debo and Ayuk out wide, and it's fine. And you can easily deal with that. And if Julio did come over here, he would want to play that wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, basically those X positions, that out wide position. He doesn't want to play in the slot. So that's the first thing. So let's do it to the Tennessee Titans. I think that would be a great fit. I think Tannehill would love to have somebody like that to throw to him. I don't want the Pats. Here's the thing about the Pats. I mean, really, it depends on who is starting. If Mac Jones starts, I mean, yes, he has a deep ball, so Julio would benefit from that, but I'm not sure. So for Tennessee, I think it's going to be a 2022 first and maybe a player. I'm not sure in the specifics what player, but I think it's Julio to the Titans for a 2021 first and a player.
Absolutely.
Possibly another receiver.
I think that's very realistic, especially with the loss of Corey Davis this year. But I do want to dive into this Pats thing. I think Cam Newton is going to have a resurgence next year. So I think I can see Julio Jones easily going to the Pats.
But does he have the deep ball to throw to Julio Jones? I mean, have we seen enough of that deep pass for him to know that that Julio Jones could succeed with Cam Newton under center?
Yeah, but I think you're asking the wrong question here. I don't think Cam Newton needs the deep pass. If he can hit Julio still is a 30-year-old guy. I mean, he's a 30-year-old guy. He's still fairly young. He can make guys miss. He can get downfield. With Matt Ryan, yeah, he got the deep ball, but he also didn't get wins. With Cam Newton, he's going to get wins. He's going to get touches. He's going to be the best receiver on that staff. And the pressure is not going to be all on him because Bill Belichick is still going to use Cam as the excellent running quarterback he is. He has a barrage of options at running back. I think he'd fit in just fine with the Pats.
All right, fair enough.
Arman, how about you?
Yeah, I think at the age of 32, you want to win. I think there's a couple setbacks with his hamstrings, but I think, yeah, you're not going to get a first rounder for him anymore. You're probably going to have to give up a couple seconds. And I think a guy of his caliber is always going to be linked to a move to the Patriots, I believe. And yeah, I think Bill Belichick would love to play with Julio. I would love to coach Julio, but yeah, it looks like New England might be the move for him.
I have a question for the both of you about this move as well. So there have been news reports that have come out that are saying that if they make a Julio trade, it's going to be post June 1st, meaning that Julio is going to be getting guaranteed money no matter where he gets traded. So my question to you guys is, will this Julio Jones trade post June 1st with that guaranteed money? I believe it's like $11 million in space. Will that kind of see some teams sway away from that just to not have that high cap hit on their books?
I think maybe a little bit, but I mean, especially the Pats, they've shown they're willing to spend money, and they've shown they've also saved money this year. So I really don't think they care. They're going to be all in on Julio. Arman.
Yeah, a guy of his caliber. I mean, you'll pay the big bucks for the guy. I think he still has a couple more seasons in his prime until he starts to dwindle down. But yeah, if you're the Patriots, you saw what they did in free agency. They opened up the checkbook. I'm pretty sure they'll open a checkbook up for Julio's guaranteed money.
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
All right, Marco, do you want to talk Aaron Rodgers before we wrap up our NFL talk?
I do.
All right, let's hear it.
So as y'all know, Aaron Rodgers did not attend OTAs. He usually attends, and I think despite what everybody's saying and despite LaFleur saying that we're going to try to work things out, he was on SportsCenter last night with Kenny Mayne. By the way, shout out Kenny Mayne, his last show on SportsCenter. Respect, absolute respect. He's going to go down as an ESPN legend. Hopefully he gets another high paying job elsewhere. Off topic though, he did do an interview with Aaron Rodgers, and he did say that it wasn't about the pick. It wasn't about the love pick. I personally love to use a play on words here, or don't mean to use a play on words. I love the love pick because I think this is that Favre thing that I was kind of hoping for that would happen. If you don't know the story, Favre mentored Rodgers to be the quarterback he is today, obviously multiple time MVP. I was hoping that with that selection, Rodgers would have that same effect to Jordan Love. And obviously Jordan Love is kind of like what Trey Lance was this year. That kind of that trait space, has a great arm, had a couple great seasons, but just needs a little bit of tuning up before he's really ready to start. But again, off topic. I think, and he said that this is about the culture. It's about the culture in Green Bay, and obviously him not having any effect on who comes in the building is a large part of it. And while the GM really doesn't have to tell players really who they're bringing in, it is common courtesy, and that common courtesy should have been showed by GM Brian Gutekunst. Obviously, that point has been kicked to eternity, but again, I'm going on a rant. I apologize, but I mean, this is all the more reason why I think Rodgers is going to leave. I really hope not. But again, I go back to that 99% or 98% pessimism, 2% optimism. It's one of those things where, using a Luke Combs lyric, they're very stubborn. They have a no bend bottom line, and that's what it is. Set in stone convictions and a no bend bottom line. And I don't think that the culture is going to change. I think Gutekunst is going to stay, and I think they're going to just continue to run the same thing. And I think this is Aaron Rodgers' goodbye after 16 years in Green Bay. And yeah, and also we saw in OTAs that this is potentially Jordan Love's team now, because Rob Domofsky reported that a lot of the starting offensive line that he was under center with is possibly a preview of what the starting O-line is going to be, with Ellington Jenkins at left tackle, and basically was the same guys that Rodgers was under at the O-line position. So those are my rambles of Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, it's a sad day it's a sad time to be a Packers fan, but go Pack go. Gotta win that cup, gotta win that championship, bring it back to Lambeau. Anyway.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's actually a perfect segue into 60-second rants. So I think we're going to hit Alvin first today.
So today I'm going to talk about the Warriors. I think after this offseason, we should find some veteran to the team. We need a guy on the court to lead to build a whole chemistry. Curry's good, Thompson's good, but I still think there's another veteran guy like Iguodala or Livingston in a few years ago, that kind of moment. Why I think this is because I think, sometimes the young guy is kind of crazy. Like when they want to do the transition, they probably, miss the tempo and also miss the easy layup. If the veteran come in, at least they know what to do on the court, especially during the clutch time. So I think in the offseason, we should find another veteran, and that's my 60-second rest today.
Beautiful, Alvin. All right, Arman, kicking it out to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk on how Trae Young gets so many foul calls. I think in the playoffs and crunch time, you can't be calling some of these lousy little hand touching fighting calls. I think it needs to be taken out of the game because there's just way too many stoppages going on. I think in playoff basketball, what you expect is more tight calls and more activity going on the court, more transition. With all these free throws, I mean, it slows down the game. You're going to a playoff game, you want to see action. And we saw a little bit in the second quarter, but in the fourth quarter, like it gets tight in the fourth quarter. And I think people need to understand that. I think the refs need to adjust in this series. So, yeah, I think across the board, free throws have basically almost ruined how to play defense. And you basically have to play with your hands behind your back at this point. And, yeah, I think the offensive player just gets too much credit sometimes for some of these foul calls. And, yeah, we need to change it.
Absolutely. And Mayor Bill de Blasio of New York City even called out Trae Young today. So we'll definitely look for some better calls as the series goes on. All right, Marco, you're up.
What a weekend in motorsport we just had. In the world of F1 at Monaco, very famous track, Max Verstappen winning, Carlos Sainz getting second place when Charles Leclerc had a gearbox issue, and making up for the Tifosi's lack of performance. Great performance by Ferrari. In the sport of NASCAR, of course, Chase Elliott winning at Circuit of the Americas, showing more why he is a road course master. And in IndyCar, 4 Chip Ganassi racing cars qualifying in the top 10 for the Indianapolis 500. Scott Dixon, Tony Kanaan in that 48, Alex Palou, and Marcus Ericsson. Great stuff in the world of motorsports. And shout out to Ed Carpenter Racing going 3 and 4 for for the Indianapolis 500, it's sure to be a fun weekend of motorsport for Indy as well.
Well,
Sorry.
Steve driving us right into the Indy 500. Thank you, Marco. All right, Steve, kicking it out to you, buddy.
All right. So the biggest thing you could do as a human being, like socially, is to read the room. Okay. Dave Cavill, president of the Oakland A's, CEO, I think, too. Please read the room. Okay. You have a whole fan base in Oakland that wants you to stay, that wants to keep your team in Oakland badly. The city wants to stay in Oakland. They're trying to figure out ways to do it. And the A's are in the middle of a game and you post a picture and a video of you at a hockey game in Las Vegas. Read the room. Okay. You just became public enemy number 1 in Oakland. Okay. Do you really, rooted in Oakland? That's the hashtag, right? Does that still apply? Like, you're actively trying to move out of Oakland, but yet at the same time, you're saying we want to stay in Oakland. Which one is it? Okay, be direct with the fan base and stop telling them something different. Read the room, Dave.
I hate to say it, Steve, but I'm on the opposite side. I think the city of Oakland is the one screwing over the A's right now. But that's a conversation.
They are, but like Dave Cavill, don't go and say, I want to keep the team in Oakland, and then go tour Vegas during a game.
That's very true. All right. We talked about fighting in hockey earlier. Now I'm going to use it to fix baseball. Everyone's always complaining about the unwritten rules. We love it when we see brawls. I want to bring that into the game of baseball. I would like to see, if you hit a moonshot, toss the bat a little bit, fire up the bench, yell at the boys, yell at the pitcher. I don't care. I want to see all of it. Let the kids play. And the MLB, once he's hit the next at bat, should let them fight it out. Let these dudes handle it like men. That's how I think this satisfies both the traditionalist of baseball, who want to see this stuff out of the game, but it won't be. And this satisfies the newer generation, because who doesn't love a good fight? I mean, come on. It's what hockey, so it makes hockey so electric as a sport. And I think it needs to be brought to baseball. And I would love to see just like Trevor Bauer and Buster Posey fight it out. Or who's another annoying pitcher? Back in the, like, your Donovan Ventura, Manny Machado, some of the greatest. I want to see fights. I want to see fights in baseball. And that is my 60-second rant.
They're paid too much for that.
That was my last 60-second rant. Oh, absolutely. All right. Well, we have 4 of us will not be here next semester. This is our final show on the TSV Sports Show. Steve will be your host next year. He'll be joined by up-and-coming journalist Zach Navarra. And I'm just going to give these guys a little time to say their farewells. Alvin, I'll start with you, man.
Yeah. What? Pardon?
You don't want to say goodbye to the TSV Sports Show viewers?
It's my pleasure to stay it's really fun to do something at the Skyline View, especially with the folks. I think I got a lot of experience, and also especially I'm not a native speaker, and also the guys like really encourage me, no matter on reporting, record a sports show, or even doing an interview, that kind of stuff. I think those are great. And also I have to give credit to our former sports editor, Daniel.
Woo.
Like, he's the most important guy, not the most important, but he taught me a lot. And also I also have to give credit to the Trajan Sports. I think those teams are great, especially if you got time, go to interview the women's basketball. Those girls are so great and they're so kind, especially the coach. The coach he's a history teacher at a high school. He's not a professional coach, but if you look at his chemistry, if you look at his attitude, oh my God, he's wonderful. So check it out with the Trajan Sports, and thank you, everybody. I'll see you soon.
Awesome. And Alvin, where are you going next year before we let you go?
I'm going to UC Davis. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Arman, kicking it out to you. Final farewell.
Yeah, obviously it was a great semester. I think we all bonded really well together and just meshed as a group. It was a good 5 months of the year with all you guys, and yeah, I learned a lot going into this, and we saw a couple setbacks, but it was honestly a great semester. cherished every moment of it, and glad to be on with you guys.
Absolutely. And then tell them what you're gonna do in next year.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get into an internship program in the Bay Area and we'll apply in August and see what school I'm taking my talents to.
Yes, sir. All right, Marco. Farewells.
And it is a bittersweet farewell indeed. And this has been an amazing show over the past couple semesters that I have been doing it. I have had a lot of changes. I've gotten a new mic over this last semester. I was just starting on a computer, just on my couch, just chilling and talking sports. And now I'm here with a nice little mic, just doing it. And I'm absolutely loving it. I am super, super blessed that Daniel first gave me this opportunity to do this. Jasper then took the reins, and now we're going to be reaching new heights. And I'm excited to see what the future of this sports show is. And I'm a huge Frank Sinatra fan, and the end is near. And face the final curtain. My friend, I say it clear. I've lived a life that's actually no, never mind. I'm not gonna get into the whole thing because then I'm gonna start quoting the whole song.
Last 3 minutes, that's the whole song.
Heck no.
All right.
Also, I don't have a very, very good voice. I will spare all of you. But so thank you to the TSV show for giving me an opportunity to give me an outlet for sports. This is going to be something I'm going to put on a portfolio when I do become a professional sportscaster, hopefully calling some great moments in history in the near future, calling the next generation of talent.
Absolutely. And where will you be taking your talents next year?
I am officially announcing that I, Marco Milani, will be taking my talents to the Academy of Art University in San Francisco, where I will be trying to become the next great sportscaster.
Yes, sir. All right. Yeah, this has been an incredible experience for me too. This has been awesome. Daniel kind of just after our final show of the semester last year, I thought Daniel was coming back. Tuesday rolled around of the first week, and I got a text, hey, take the reins of the TSV Sports Show. I completely had no idea what I was doing hosting, but I made it through. And yeah, it's been an awesome time at the Skyline View. It's been an awesome time doing this show. Shout out to our 5 fans who unwaveringly watch this show. You guys,
we'll have 8 of them next year.
We'll have 8 next year.
There is probably a lot more than 5 fans, Jasper. Don't
Marco doesn't
worry.
like that.
5.5 to the one person who watched halfway through every episode.
Oh, come on.
But anyways,
you sell us short, man.
It's been a pleasure hosting. It's been a pleasure working with you guys and getting this show together. And I think we've really created something special. And yeah, I will be attending the University of Wisconsin next year.
Go Badgers.
Go Badge.
So, before we leave, I still want to say the U.S. Open Championship, the LPGA game will be held in San Francisco at June 3rd to June 6th. If you got time, just check it out. It's a big tournament.
Got a great mustache, by the way, Alvin.
Thank you, Alvin.
Like it.
Incredible. All right, but before we do leave, I want to let the future host have his floor to tell you what's coming to the show next semester. Kind of put him on the spot here, but Steve, take it away.
Yeah, you did put me on the spot. No, but I'm excited to announce that this will be the last ever. No, I'm just kidding. No, we're going to bring TSV Sports Show back. We're going to get some new blood in here. And if any of these guys right here want to come on the show, they're more than welcome to. If anything sports related happens, they could come on. But yeah, we're going to try and move into a new era. We're going to do a lot more sports talk, maybe have some interviews along the way, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get going next semester. So super excited. And thanks, Jasper. Thanks all you guys, Arman, Alvin, Marco, Daniel's popped in here occasionally. They are the wheels of the bike. So that was a horrible
that was the bike. Yeah, let's go. No, I love it.
And also just check the Rizzlecast as well.
Yeah, check out Rizzlecast. Check out K-Dog for Marco's last show of the semester coming up this Friday.
So yes. Well, I've already broadcast my last show. Actually, there will be a re-air of it. All this week on K-Dog Radio, starting at 1:00. There will be rebroadcasts of my 5 best shows. So if you have not listened to K-Dog or haven't listened to the K-Dog All Sports Show, which I have had the pleasure of hosting this semester as well, I suggest you go check it out. Just look it up on Google. Look it up on CSM's website. You'll be able to find it. It's on Live 365. But also check out K-Dog as well, because they don't just have sports. They don't just have me. They also have some great music there as well. So go check it out.
Absolutely. And for the last time this semester, this has been the TSV Sports Show. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next fall.